Hello everyone, this is Matt from Real World Review, and today is week 3 of Let's Talk. If you don't know what Let's Talk is, pretty much what I do is I go through my Google feed, I pick 3 articles, and I talk to you guys about them. And for this week, the phone that I'm using is the Samsung Note 9. So let's get started. The first article is from Forbes and it's called Motorola Goes Back to the Future with Razr. And if you don't really know too much about this, there's been some talk about Motorola coming out with a new flip phone. And what it was going to be is it's actually going to have a foldable screen. So it's not going to be the same flip phone as the original Razr, but it's actually going to be an entire screen going from the top and the bottom. It was rumored that they were going to cost $1,500 US and they were going to release 200,000 of these. That would equal out to $300 million in sales. That's a lot of money. This all started because Motorola actually filed for a patent for a foldable phone, and it is believed that this is going to be the next Razr. As you can see right here, there's a little piece in the middle that would be the folding part, but if you look at it, the whole device when opened up is going to be perfectly flat, as opposed to the whole 165, 170 degree shape that the older phones used to make. And as you read more about it, it talks about the success of the original Razr and talks about the V70, which was kind of like a swivel device. Back then, the V70 was a big deal because it wasn't really common for companies to make phones like these, except for Nokia. But again, all this is talking about is just the patent design and not really going over what the phone is supposed to have. I'm very interested in this because I love Motorola phones and I like the design of the Motorola Razr, and I was actually trying to get a Motorola V9 because that phone will actually work on 3G, but this is probably a better idea, especially if it's going to run Android and it's going to support LTE or possibly 5G. I remember reading in a separate article that they were planning on releasing this phone at the end of February, but it is highly unlikely because they haven't done any marketing for this. So I highly doubt that they're going to release this phone anytime soon, but hopefully they release it this year. So the next article is from 9to5Mac, and it pretty much talks about the software updates for the Apple Watch, the iPhone, iPad, and the HomePod. So the Apple Watch got 5.1.3 and the iPhone and iPad got 12.1.3. There was actually an update that came out that was called iOS 12.1.2 and it actually messed up a bunch of phones, mainly the modem portion, which caused issues with cellular data. This is pretty much just a small update, but it is kind of annoying that Apple does come out with these updates all the time. They fixed a bug in the Messages app. They fixed an issue that caused audio distortion when using external audio input devices on the iPad Pro. Well, the iPad Pro has USB-C, so it actually doesn't have a headset jack, so they could have easily prevented that by leaving the headset jack. But that would make too much sense. They fixed an issue that would cause certain CarPlay systems to disconnect from the iPhone XR, XS, and XS Max, which is a little bit interesting because maybe that's just for that chipset. It's kind of weird that they have certain issues for specific phones, but it makes sense. The HomePod's update fixes an issue that could cause the HomePod to restart and addresses an issue that could cause Siri to stop listening. I guess that's cool. I mean, there's not really much going on with the HomePod, so honestly, I would think that it would just work forever, but either way, they come out with software updates. And it looks like they came out with updates for the Apple TV and also their Mac computers. Personally, I haven't got the update on my computer, but maybe it'll pop up by the time I release this video. It's nice that Apple is coming out with really quick updates, but it is kind of annoying that they're causing these issues in the first place. I mean, if you go back to the iPhone and iPad updates, all this stuff should just work. There should be no reason for it not to work at all. So, I mean, that is a little bit frustrating, but I guess newer phones are going to have issues, right? Same with the HomePod. The HomePod doesn't even really have like an actual screen. I mean, it does on the top that kind of acts like a light, but it doesn't have like a screen like an iPhone or anything like that. So it's kind of weird that they actually have issues with these devices, even now. I mean, what? It took like a year or two for this thing to come out and there's still issues with it? That's kind of disappointing. Either way, let's move on to the last article that is from 9to5Mac, and it's actually talking about the MacBook Pro stage light fault. And I've actually seen this happen before on an iPad that Apple actually had at their store, so it's kind of interesting that they do this, but this is damaged by a different way. So pretty much what happens, and the reason why they call it a $6 fix into a $600 nightmare, is that there's a cable that goes from the top to the bottom. Top and the bottom of the device, and pretty much what happens is as you open and close the computer, what will happen is that cable will actually tear a little bit and it'll get worn a little bit too. So what they're saying on here is that on the newer MacBooks they would actually make that cable a little bit thinner, maybe to save space, maybe to save weight. I have no idea why, but they would actually make it thinner. So essentially what would happen is those cables would actually wear and start to tear, and that is not a fun repair. Didn't mean to rhyme there. It is a little bit disappointing because there's a lot of people that are going to be affected by this. And hopefully Apple does the right thing and fixes it. But then again, I mean, these screens are very expensive. Even for Apple, it probably costs them maybe $150 to $200 to fix. If this is happening for the last 2 years, that is a lot of money that they're going to be out if they are fixing it, which hopefully they should. I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. You're probably not a multi-billionaire, and if you are, thanks for watching these videos, because that's a little bit surprising. But either way, it's very disappointing that they're going to try and save money by doing this. I mean, they should have known that this is going to cause them issues in the future. That's all I wanted to talk about. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section or on Twitter at MattofRWR, and feel free to follow me on the social media listed above. Also, subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos like this, along with repair and review videos. And hit that bell button so then YouTube will actually remind you when a new video does come out. Thanks for watching.